The polar bear, a true apex predator of the Arctic. Weighing up to 1,500 pounds, with a powerful build, razor-sharp claws, and a thick layer of fur and blubber that keeps it warm in sub-zero temperatures, the polar bear is built for survival. It has no natural enemies here, making it the undisputed king of the Arctic. A massive polar bear is walking through the snow, its white fur gleaming under the bright sunlight. Suddenly, the scene shifts to a large colony of walruses lounging on an ice floe. In the wild, power and survival are everything. The Arctic is home to some of the most incredible and dangerous creatures on the planet. But today, we witness one of the most thrilling and intense showdowns to ever unfold on the icy plains of the North. Get ready for the epic battle, polar bear versus giant walrus. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more amazing like this. Who will emerge victorious in this clash of titans? The polar bear, a relentless hunter with powerful claws and jaws, or the massive walrus, an aquatic giant with tusks that can rip through anything in its path? Let's find out. The walrus is coming for the epic battle. Before we dive into this epic battle, let's meet the two contenders. On one side, we have the polar bear, a true apex predator of the Arctic. Weighing up to 1,500 pounds, with a powerful build, razor-sharp claws, and a thick layer of fur and blubber that keeps it warm in sub-zero temperatures, the polar bear is built for survival. It has no natural enemies here, making it the undisputed king of the Arctic. But the polar bear isn't just big, it's smart. With its incredible sense of smell, it can detect seals from miles away, using its speed and strength to ambush prey and break through thick ice. Its skills make it a feared predator. The polar bear is a great hunter. But the walrus skin is so thick for the polar bear to easily get a bite. The walrus, a behemoth of the Arctic Ocean. Weighing up to 2,000 pounds, this sea mammal is not only huge, but also surprisingly fast in the water. With its thick blubber layer for insulation and a set of tusks that can grow up to 3 feet long, the walrus is a force to be reckoned with. The polar bear has a great sense of catching and luring at prey. Despite their size, walruses are skilled survivors, capable of diving deep into icy waters for food. But what happens when these two giants, one of the most deadly land predators and one of the most formidable aquatic mammals, come face to face? Let's find out. The first encounter. The polar bear trudging through the snow. In the distance, a walrus colony can be seen sunbathing on an ice floe. One fateful day, our polar bear begins its journey across the frozen landscape. The scent of the sea hangs in the cold Arctic air, a sign of the walrus colony just ahead. As the polar bear moves closer, it spots its potential prey, a group of walruses basking in the sun. The polar bear's instincts kick in. It has no intention of letting these giants escape. The polar bear's paws, stomping the snow and leaving deep tracks. The camera shows the polar bear stalking toward the walruses, the tension palpable. Suddenly, one walrus notices the bear. One keen-eyed walrus spots the predator, its head jerking up in alarm. The alarm spreads through the colony, and chaos erupts as the giant animals begin to slide toward the water. The walruses splashing into the water, leaving the polar bear behind on the ice. The walrus is an extraordinary marvel of the Arctic, a true giant of the sea. With its massive size, powerful tusks, and impressive strength, it commands respect in its environment. Beneath its tough exterior, the walrus is an incredible survivor, capable of diving to great depths in search of food while effortlessly navigating the icy waters. Its intelligence, social bonds, and ability to thrive in some of the harshest conditions on Earth make the walrus a true testament to the power of adaptation and resilience in the wild. The walruses are fast in the water, but the polar bear isn't giving up yet. It's no stranger to aquatic pursuits and is known to chase seals through the ice. But the question remains, will the polar bear be able to catch a walrus? The battle of strength and survival, the polar bear slowly moving toward the water's edge, sniffing the air. The walruses are now partially submerged, watching. Now, we enter the domain of the walrus, the water. The bear moves cautiously, knowing that once the walruses are in the water, they'll be much harder to catch. The camera shifts to a polar bear diving into the water, its massive body creating a wave. The polar bear hesitates, watching intently, looking for the walrus in the cold sea. Polar bears are capable swimmers, but the water is cold and treacherous, and the walrus has the advantage of speed and agility. These creatures can dive deep and resurface quickly, making them hard to catch. But the polar bear isn't backing down. The polar bear takes a deep breath, sensing the walrus' fresh smell, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, but the walrus is very fast, and the polar bear takes a deep breath, dives into the icy water after the walrus. The polar bear plunges into the icy depths, determined to close the gap. But the walrus is no stranger to the cold. With its thick blubber and powerful flippers, it propels itself effortlessly through the water, easily outpacing the polar bear. Underwater footage shows the polar bear struggling to catch up to the walrus. The walrus, with its sheer size and strength, is more than a match for the polar bear in the water. The bear lunges, but the walrus swiftly ducks, diving deeper into the frigid waters. It's a race for survival, the final showdown, the polar bear emerging from the water, its fur heavy with ice. The walruses remain out of reach, still in the depths. But the tension continues to build. Exhausted but relentless, the polar bear emerges from the water, shaking off the ice. The walruses know they have the upper hand in the water, but they can't stay submerged forever. As they slowly begin to climb back onto the ice, the confrontation is far from over. A few walruses cautiously re-emerge, looking around. The polar bear watches, its eyes narrowed and focused, equally tired after a long swim. As the walruses make their way back to the ice, the polar bear is ready for another attempt. But this time, it's not just hunting for a meal. It's fighting for dominance, and neither creature is willing to back down. The polar bear rushes toward the ice where the walruses are climbing. This final showdown is about more than just hunger, it's about power. The walruses, despite their size and tusks, are not invincible. The polar bear's claws are sharp enough to pierce through thick skin, and its jaws are powerful enough to crush bone. My camera shows the polar bear lunging toward a lone walrus, trying to grab it. The walrus, with a desperate thrash, uses its tusks to fend off the bear, narrowly missing the polar bear's attack. With a powerful swing of its tusks, the walrus defends itself. The clash of tusks and claws echoes across the ice, and for a moment, it's anyone's game. But ultimately, only one will come out victorious. The polar bear retreating as the walrus stands firm. In the end, the battle of strength and survival reaches its peak. Both creatures are left exhausted, but only one can claim victory. Who will it be? The polar bear and the walrus, two of the Arctic's greatest survivors. Today, we saw the brutal clash of these titans, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. But remember, survival in the wild is never guaranteed, and both creatures will live to fight another day. Thank you for watching this epic battle between the polar bear and the giant walrus. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible wildlife showdowns. Until next time, stay wild.